Welcome everybody. I'm going to be talking about Grumpig. Grumpig was very underwhelming, as a lot of Gen 3 Pokemon especially are, but in general, a lot of Pokemon were pretty underwhelming, and Grumpig was very comparable stat-wise to Hypno, and so you might be thinking, well, why did I make it the same type as Hypno? Because Hypno is also Psychic Dark type in this hack. There is a high amount of pure Psychic types, and there's actually a good few Psychic Dark types now with all of the new type changes. Previously, there was only two, Malamar and Hoopa Unbound, I believe, in Gen 7. Let me check my list real quick. Psychic, I know I have a list of pure Psychics and everything here. So pure Psychic types, there are 9 pure Psychic types, and in this hack, and then there are Psychic Dark, 5 Dark Psychic types. So that kind of puts it into context. Reason being, Grumpig would have had way too much competition with the pure Psychic types. Not to mention, the Dark typing fits Grumpig very well. Not just because of the Black Pearls, although that is kind of a reason. The main reason is actually his personality. So he's called the Manipulate Pokemon. And if you read the Dex entries, it talks about how it uses its Psychic Power Waves for gaining total control over the foe. There's a couple more. It does an odd dance to gain control over foes. It does a strange dance to control foes' minds. That sounds really dark to me. I mean, he's literally called the Manipulate Pokemon. He mind controls people, and he has those black gems, and his color scheme overall is pretty dark. So dark typing fits well for a ROM hack, very nicely at that. And Grumpig has 2 incredible abilities, boosting abilities in Psychic Surge and Dark Aura. You might be looking at those 2 abilities and instantly think, well, Psychic Surge is stronger, therefore it's better. And that's far from the truth. So even if that was the case, there's still going to be situations where you only need Dark Stab over Psychic Stab, and so using that infinite usability capsule, which you have from the beginning of the hack, to switch your ability from Dark Aura to Psychic Surge and vice versa, is still a good trait, even if it was objectively stronger. But you need to keep in mind that Psychic Surge prevents priority, okay? You can't use priority moves on grounded Pokemon in Psychic terrain. With Dark Aura, it's just a flat boost to your Dark moves. Also, another thing, they both have their own pros and cons, which is why I really like it. So Psychic Surge is a 50% boost, while Dark Aura is a 30% boost. But if you actually do the math on that, so 1.5 1 1.5, you get a 2.25 times boost for Psychic Surge in Gen 7, and then Dark Aura is actually a 1.95 times boost, which is very high. That's that's the same as adaptability for Dark type, so almost it's 5% weaker. Adaptability is a flat 2 times boost. So say Grumpig was a pure Dark type with adaptability. I'm not saying that's what it is, just hypothetically speaking. Dark Aura would be almost as strong, only 5% weaker than adaptability. So that's a really strong ability as well. People sleep on Dark Aura. There's a reason Yveltal has been like top tier Ubers since its debut. With Dark Aura plus Sucker Punch is incredible. And I, in fact, gave Grumpig Sucker Punch. So another big advantage of... So stat-wise, I lowered their speed a bit. Mostly to differentiate them from Hypno, and also because they need... 3 reasons, okay? Number 1, I'm going to list them in order. Number 1, I needed stat points for bulk and for mixed offenses. Number 2, it doesn't really make that much sense to be that fast anyways. And then number 3, to differentiate from Hypno, which is another Psychic Dark type, which has a... Oh god, I have to type in Drowsy to get Hypno, because otherwise Hypnosis is going to come up every time. Yeah, so yeah, here you go. You can see Hypno's changes here, and they are incredible as well. You can go check out... I recommend checking that video out as well if you haven't already, or looking at the sheet down below. As always, also, by the way, guys, there is a very detailed link down below in the description for these changes. You can check the Google sheet out yourself. But yeah, very powerful stuff right here with Hypno. Bad Dreams and Sinister. Hypno is weaker because it lacks the abilities, but it has infinitely more utility, and it is faster. And the utility is the big deal with Hypno. The abilities also, not to mention, Hypno is actually immune to Fairy because of its Sinister ability. Psychic Dark is a pretty poor defensive typing. It actually has literally no resistances, so if you check that out, it has a 4 times weakness to Bug, a 2 times weakness to Fairy, and 0 resistances and 1 immunity to Psychic, which is pretty rough. So it's mostly for offensive stuff, and also just for flavor. And an immunity to Psychic is pretty cool, I guess, but overall it's kind of a shitty typing. Yeah, you only have 2 weaknesses, but like neutral to everything is not that great on a bulkier Pokemon. However, Grumpig still makes great use of it because of its naturally very high bulk that I gave it. So it has 95, 85, 120 bulk, which is super tanky. And you also have, everything in this hack has reliable recovery for the most part. They have slack off to heal. and a bunch of other really good stuff here that I'm going to get into. But yeah, I figured also physical attack in Grumpig, you might be looking at these stats and be like, yeah, but its special attack is higher. Why would I ever use the physical attack? Well, in this hack, not only do you have access to that infinite usability capsule, you can also instantly EV train your Pokemon and change those EVs around at will. So for one boss fight, you might want to run Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Sucker Punch with Dark Aura or something, plus, I don't know, Zen Head better, Psycho Warp or whatever. Or Dizzy Punches, whatever you want to run, or some other coverage move or whatever, or Swords Dance instead of Bulk Up, that kind of thing. Physical sets, okay? You have tons of great coverage on both sides, by the way. As you can see here, there is a giant list of TMs and tutor moves here that are all insane coverage for Spoink and Grumpig. On both physical and special sides, they have incredible coverage and also great utility, which I'll get into. But yeah, Psychic Surge Dark Aura turns their base 100 special attack into an incredibly powerful force. All right, it 100 special attack without any boosting abilities is kind of mid, but with a 50% or 30% boost to its stat moves, depending on which ability you're running for that boss fight, it's insane. It's very strong. Psychic Surge, again, has the big con of not being able to run priority. However, that could be seen as a benefit, not to mention because if you switch your Grumpig in on a fucking first impression, he takes 0 damage because of Psychic Surge, which is insane. Because he is, first impression is a very common attacking move now that most Pokemon have access to. And now you can switch your Grumpig in and instantly just be immune to it. So it goes from being a 4x move that would probably have killed you to a complete immunity. Not to mention being immune to other priority moves, all kinds of priority moves. Every Pokemon in this hack has at least one priority move for the most part. And most of them have several because there is at least one priority move of every type now. Usually there's at least, I tried to make at least 2 for every type. There's like one type that only has one priority move, I think. Actually, I think every type has 2, physical and special now, actually. Yeah, because I did make that steel one the other day, so like a month or 2 ago. I don't know why I said the other day. So yeah, Grumpig is just super tanky and super strong. You're running speedier sets. You could use agility. That would be pretty good, especially because 50 base speed in game at +2 with preparation can outspeed entire teams with ease. But overall, you're mostly using like priority stuff on Dark Aura. Also, just depending on the boss fight, you'll look at the team's roster, and if you are preparing that way and you are doing a hardcore Nuzlocke, you'll look at the team roster and you'll switch the ability. As simple as that. Not to mention Psychic Surge preventing priority can fuck up your other teammates. It's great because it can prevent priority for your team. For example, first impression, all these other strong moves, but it also shuts down your own priority. So it's a very situational thing. You're going to be switching between those. Say you want to run first impression on your other Pokemon. Okay, then run Dark Aura on your Grumpig. Say you want to run you say you don't need priority and Psychic and Dark is both equally good, then you run Psychic Surge for the stronger power. However, keep in mind that Dark is a much better offensive typing than Psychic is. Very few things are just Dark. What is it? Dark itself, Fairy, and Fighting? Is that it? Big resistances? While Psychic has an entire immunity and then is resisted by what? Steel, Psychic. Is it just those 2? I think it actually might be just those 2. So that's actually not as bad as I thought. But Psychic has a lot less super effective. I don't know. Dark is just a very good offensive type. Okay. I would argue it's better than Psychic in terms of offensive stuff, purely because of that immunity alone, let alone the neutral coverage that Dark has. And again, those physical Sucker Punch sets are great. Special sets with Dark Aura are also great. You also have a really cool not signature, but exclusive move that only dancing type Pokemon get, Revelation Dance. I know it's listed as Psychic Dark type, but in the files I did make it a Dark Psychic, so it can get that Dark type Revelation Dance, just to encourage the use of Dark Aura more. Also because I think it's cooler, because you already have Psychic and Psyshock for 100% accurate, reliable stab, but your Dark Pulse is only 85, which is good, but Revelation Dance is 5 base power stronger than Dark Pulse and has a 50% chance to boost your special attack stat by 1, so that's great. Topsy-Turvy is incredible for totems and in general. All kinds of other good stuff like Future Sight and Doom Desire with Parting Shot can be huge. You can run Psychic Surge, Future Sight, or Dark Aura, Doom Desire, and then Parting Shot out, and then go into your teammate, and then they'll get hit a couple turns later. That's incredible. Again, incredible stab moves here. You got powerful physical psychic moves with Psycho Break and Psycho Warp. Psycho Warp being Psychic type close combat. I did give them physical moves earlier by level up than special ones to also encourage the use of its lower attack stat. But in general, you're already being encouraged pretty heavily to use that because of the move pool and the fact that you have such a vast move pool that you can just switch between the 2 depending on the situation. Oh, I didn't get them Belly Drum. Oopsie. That has to be on there. I actually completely forgot about that. Oh shit, hold on. Ugh, it's not gonna fit now. I have to delete a move or something. That's annoying. Or I could put these all in one row, but no, that won't fit. Shit, man. All right, I'll figure it out. But they should have Belly. They will have Belly Drum after this video. I will put that on there. Let me make a note for myself. They will have Belly Drum, which is incredible, obviously. And of course, you still have Swords Dance and Bulk Up, and you also have Nasty Plot and Calm Mind. So you have setup moves all out the wazoo. I just said that unironically. That's crazy, but yeah. Again, your move pool is great on both ends. I mean, you can see all the coverage options here. Again, a lot of these moves are buffed or changed in some regards, so I would check those out in the description down below. But nonetheless, it's still good stuff. Purely just because Dark Aura lets you use priority. Even ignoring the boosts and what type the abilities boost, there's still pros and cons there. You should always keep that in mind. You don't want to fuck up your own team synergy with Psychic Surge. You don't want to, the Psychic Surge has pros and cons. Dark Aura has mostly only pros. The only con to Dark Aura is number one, that it's a little bit weaker than Psychic Surge, and then number two, that you can technically take more damage from dark type moves because Dark Aura works for the opponent as well, I believe. So you are neutral to dark type. So for example, if you switch in your Dark Aura Grumpig on a dark type move, you'll be taking 30% more, and if it's a stab one, then you're taking almost double, 50% more damage, which is pretty nutty. So yeah, definitely something you want to keep that in mind as well. But overall, the cons for Psychic Surge are a lot more obvious and glaring, which is why you should, use your ability capsule and just switch between them as you need. Spoink is also great for the early game. It evolves at 32, so it'll evolve probably just in time for Olivia, which is really nice. Maybe even for the Plumeria fight before Olivia, so that's really nice. But Spoink, pretty damn solid. Magic Bounce, I think, is funny and fitting because it has that orb on its head, the pearl, and also it bounces around. I think it's kind of cute, and it's just a useful ability. It makes it immune to taunt. It also bypasses all kinds of other status moves, especially for the mid game. There's basically every Pokemon gets a stat dropping move of some kind in the mid game. Even just simple parting shots and stuff like that, let alone the actual stat dropping moves that are very good in this hack. They're also very good in game in general because the AI really switches out, so you can basically guaranteed drop that Pokemon stats for the rest of time unless they crit you, unless they switch out or something. So that's great. So Magic Bounce is a great ability. Okay, you switch it in, you reverse the move stuff back. That's incredible. And again, you got to make use of that infinite usability capsule because you have another great ability that I intended to have use over at Magic Bounce, which is Unburden. Logic for that one is kind of funny and kind of morbid. I don't know. You guys all probably know the lore with Swink losing the pearl. It fucking dies. Its heartbeat stops or whatever. So I think it'd be kind of funny if he lost his pearl. My logic is I give Unburden to a lot of Pokemon that hold an item like in canon. And so when they lose that item, they would be faster. So for example, I give it the Farfetch because of the stick, that kind of thing. I think that's a cute little flavorful thing I do. And it makes a lot of. I can also just give it to nimble Pokemon in general, but I think it also fits those types of Pokemon. And with Spoink, that's great because 60 base speed, 90 base special attack, and solid bulk. With Unburden, mid game can be an incredible force with like Charge Beam, for example. Unburden, Psychic Seed, Psychic Terrain, for example, is incredible. You get that special defense boost, then you get the 50% boost to your psychic moves from Psychic Terrain, and then you get the double speed. So you're essentially getting almost a Calm Mind boost with a 2x speed boost as well. Not to mention, Quick Claw is buffed to always trigger. However, it goes away after use, which is still an incredibly useful utility item. So you can use Unburden, Quick Claw, and just use a priority move and then get your double speed from that. That can be great for totems. I mean, really, Spoink is a great Pokemon. It's great utility for all of Akala Island and Melee Island. You could even try doing some funny little like Hala Sweep stuff, although it'd probably be pretty hard because you don't have any boosting options that early. Actually, you would have Z-Teeter Dance. Yeah, I should move that. No, you can't do Unburden with Z-Teeter Dance. Never mind. You can't do Unburden with that, so that's fine. That's fine by me. Z-Teeter Dance gives you +2 special attack. All these moves have like really cool new effects and buffs, so I would honestly just go check those out in the description. Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff here, like you got Stockpile, Swallow, Spew Out. I'm sure you guys know what those do by now if you're new here. If you're not new here, if you are new here, check out the description down below. But they're buffed to be really good moves now. Belch is also great, gives you special attack boost. All kinds of really other cool stuff here. Payback is great for physical sets because it's a 120 base power move always. The only downside is it's negative priority, but that's still an insane, 120 base power, 0 drawbacks is huge. So you can use like Payback plus Sucker Punch, Dark Aura, and just go to town there. That's really strong. Again, Parting Shot is great utility. You also have self-setting Trick Room, which is incredible. Trick Room is actually a priority move now. Because it has very limited distribution. Grumpig is one of the best abusers of it in terms of being able to set it up for itself. Of course, any Trick Room mon, you can just slap the infinite use eject button on it, and then you get that Trick Room off, and then you get your eject button into your Trick Room abuser. But it is situational, but it's still a great ability, a great move, excuse me. Especially because of how powerful you are, you can also just abuse that yourself. You got that trick room, you got your great coverage moves, and you can really just go to town. You can also do like trick room belly drum if you really wanted to, but that's kind of overkill with like drain punch maybe, and then like dark aura or psychic surge move. It's up to you. There's so many different things you can do here. Again, you should be preparing for fights and using your utility and your offensive coverage depending on the situation, because you have all the coverage you ever need to ever hit anything. So it's not really a matter of what you hit; it's a matter of what moves you're running. Obviously in competitive it would be a different story, but this is in game, so you can switch around. It's almost like people often view this as like a competitive thing. I would view it more like draft league, if anything, because with draft league you're preparing for what the opponent's going to have, and you're like trying to counter team. Only instead of it being against a real player, you have exactly their exact move sets already beforehand, and you know exactly what they're going to do if you know how the AI works. And that might sound easy, but it's not, trust me, because there's a lot of things that are going to go into this, and it'll be fun when I eventually stream my runs, and maybe people can get an idea of what's going on there. I'm gonna leave it off there. I don't want to talk too much longer, but yeah, tons of amazing utility moves. I'm brushing over a bunch of them because I don't want to go into every single detailed option. Like stored power, power trip are also great. Twilight cannon, cycle boost, drop your offensive stats by 2, but they're very powerful 150 base power moves. Power chip, stored power give you +1 attack or special attack, and those are both stab. So those can work great with Calm Mind or Bulk Up or Swords Dance or Nasty Plot or any other setup move. I should also give them Meditate. Give Meditate and Belly Drum after video. Okay, I'll add those 2 moves. I will add Meditate as well. Meditate is just a +1 attack, +1 spread F, so it's a good little option. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it off there. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. There's a couple other things I could touch on, but honestly, I just encourage you to check out the description down below and look at the changes for yourself. Yeah, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.